The phone rang at 4 a.m., slicing through the quiet like a knife. I was awake before the second ring finished. Old habits never die. 30 years as a detective trains you to recognize urgency even before words are spoken. But nothing prepares you for the sound of your son-in-law's voice telling you your daughter is dead. "Lydia didn't make it," Preston said. His voice was flat. Too flat. No cracks, no hesitation, no grief struggling to breathe. There were complications during childbirth. She hemorrhaged. She's gone. Gone. The word echoed in my head, hollow and wrong. I sat up in bed, gripping the phone so tightly my fingers ached. Outside my window, snow drifted down over Newton, Massachusetts, silent and heavy. December cold, the kind that seeps into your bones and refuses to leave. "What do you mean, gone?" I asked. My voice didn't sound like a father's. It sounded like a cop's, controlled, measured, distant. "I'm sorry," he replied quickly. "I have to go. The hospital needs me." Then the line went dead. I stared at the phone for 2 seconds longer than necessary. Then I moved. 15 minutes later, I was driving through a snowstorm toward Boston, tires cutting through ice-covered roads. The trip usually took 45 minutes. I made it in 32. I didn't slow down once. Something about that call had set every alarm in my head screaming. Preston hadn't sounded devastated. He'd sounded relieved. Massachusetts General Hospital rose out of the storm like a fortress of glass and steel. I parked in the emergency lot and ran. 4th floor. ICU. I took the stairs 2 at a time, my knees burning but steady. Fear sharpens focus. That's when I saw her, Helena Hawthorne. My daughter's mother-in-law stood in front of the ICU doors like a sentry, arms crossed, eyes sharp and assessing. She didn't look like a woman who'd just lost her daughter-in-law. She looked like a woman guarding something. "She's gone," Helena said coldly before I could speak. "You need to leave. Immediate family only." "I am immediate family," I replied. "I'm her father." She didn't move. "Preston is handling everything. There's nothing for you to do." "I want to see my daughter." "That's not possible. She's been moved. Arrangements are already being made." Every word landed wrong. The timing. The blocking stance. The way her eyes never softened. "When did she die?" I asked quietly. 3:47 a.m. "And Preston called me at 4 o'clock, I said. Her jaw tightened. That was all I needed. I turned and walked away like a broken father. But I didn't leave the hospital. I went to the stairwell, then the parking garage, and I waited. Because I'd seen that look before. And people who wear it are always hiding something. I stayed in that parking garage until the sky darkened and the hospital shifted into its evening rhythm. Visitors thinned out. Staff relaxed. That's when people make mistakes. I pulled a Red Sox cap low over my face and flipped my jacket inside out, an old surveillance trick. Confidence is everything. If you walk like you belong, most people never question you. I entered through the main doors, nodded at the security desk, and followed a family through the ICU checkpoint as if I were one of them. 4th floor. ICU. The unit was circular, glass-walled rooms surrounding a central nurse's station. Curtains drawn. Monitors humming. I scanned the numbers until I found it. Room 412. The curtain was open. I took one step closer, and my heart nearly stopped. My daughter was alive. Lydia lay in the hospital bed, pale but breathing, tubes and wires snaking from her arms and chest. A heart monitor blinked steadily, each beep hammering into my skull. Her chest rose and fell. Strong. Consistent. Undeniably alive. I pressed my hand to the glass to steady myself. "Baby girl," I whispered. "Daddy's here." She didn't move. Her eyes stayed closed. But the machines told the truth no one else wanted to. Then I heard footsteps. I ducked into an alcove just as Preston appeared in the hallway, walking beside a woman in a white coat. A doctor. They stopped only a few feet from me, unaware I existed. "I need you to understand her condition," the doctor said calmly. "Your wife is in what we call a locked-in state. She's deeply unconscious, but there's a small chance, maybe 5%, that she can hear or process what's happening around her." 5%. My stomach turned. "What are our options?" Preston asked. Not will she recover. Not can you help her. Options. We maintain life support and monitor for improvement, the doctor replied. Some patients recover. Most don't. How long do we keep her like this? The doctor hesitated. Typically, after 30 days, families discuss long-term care or other decisions. 30 days. I clenched my fists. And she can't hear us. Preston asked. Most likely not, the doctor said. The 5% is optimistic. Good, Preston replied. That's good to know. Good. The doctor walked away. Preston stood there staring through the glass at my daughter, not with grief, not with love, but with calculation. Then he pulled out his phone and typed a message. That's when another voice joined him. Cold. Sharp. Familiar. We need to talk, Helena said. Somewhere private. They walked toward a nearby conference room. The door didn't close all the way. Sloppy. Perfect. I pressed myself against the wall, barely breathing, as Helena spoke again, her voice low, efficient, and terrifying. After 30 days, we can legally remove life support, she said. Clean. No questions. Silence. Then Preston spoke, his voice unsteady. What about Elliot? Helena didn't hesitate. He already thinks she's dead. I stayed frozen in that alcove as the conference room swallowed them whole. The door remained slightly open, just enough for their voices to spill into the hallway. Years on surveillance taught me when to listen and when to disappear. This moment, I listened. We can't talk about this here, Helena said sharply. Someone might hear. There's no one around, Preston replied, tired, strained. There's always someone, Helena snapped. Then a third voice joined them, young, uneasy. I don't understand why I'm here, the woman said. You said this was urgent. Sloan, Helena replied, her tone softening just enough to manipulate. You're part of this now. Sloan, Preston's assistant. I'd seen her before, at family gatherings, hovering too close, always available. Now her voice trembled. Part of what? Helena didn't hesitate. After 30 days, the hospital allows families to discuss ending life support. It's legal. Ethical boards sign off. No one asks questions. Silence hung heavy. Then Sloan whispered, You're talking about killing her. I'm talking about resolving a situation, Helena said calmly. Lydia is gone. What's left is a body with a heartbeat. My nails dug into my palm until I felt skin break. What about Elliot? Preston asked again. He'll never agree. We don't need his agreement, Helena said. We already told him she died. We stick to that story. Closed casket. Quick cremation. Sloan sucked in a breath. You want to fake a funeral while she's still alive? It's mercy, Helena replied. And practical. Then came the sentence that changed everything. Preston, Helena continued. You have a newborn who needs a mother. Sloan can move in. Help with the baby. People will understand. Sloan didn't respond right away. By the time she did, her voice was thin. You're asking me to replace her. I'm asking you to help this family survive, Helena said. By the time life support is withdrawn, Elliot will believe Lydia's ashes have been buried for weeks. I wanted to storm that room, to expose them, to tear their plan apart right then. But anger makes mistakes. Evidence wins wars. I slipped away before they finished talking, my footsteps silent on the linoleum. By the time I reached the stairwell, my hands were shaking, not from fear, but from restraint. They thought I was gone. Broken. Grieving. Good. 3 days later, I stood at a cemetery burying an empty casket. Snow dusted the ground. A small crowd gathered, co-workers, neighbors, strangers pretending sympathy. Helena stood in the front row, dressed in black, composed. Preston beside her, eyes hollow, rehearsed grief on his face. I played my role perfectly. Head bowed. Shoulders shaking. A father destroyed. Helena approached afterward, her voice syrupy with false sorrow. She's at peace now. I nodded, letting her see exactly what she expected. That night, I made one phone call. Kieran, I said when my old partner answered. I need you. Off the books. There was a pause. Then, Whose life are we saving? My daughter's, I said. And I'm going to need them to believe I'm already gone. Kieran arrived at my place before sunrise the next morning. No bag. No department car. Just a duffel bag, dark circles under his eyes, and the look I'd seen 100 times before, focused, ready. You're sure? He asked, setting the bag on my kitchen table. If this goes sideways. It won't, I said. They think I'm broken. That's our advantage. He nodded once. That was all the agreement we needed. By nightfall, Kieran was inside the Hawthorne house in Beacon Hill, moving through it like a ghost. He'd done this work with me for over a decade, knew how to plant devices without leaving a trace, how to make technology disappear into walls, vents, lamps, audio, video, every shared space, every private room. They won't stay careful, he said before leaving. People who think they've won never do. The next evening, Helena invited me over. A small gathering, she said gently over the phone. For the baby. I thought it might help you heal. I almost laughed. Instead, I thanked her. The house was glowing when I arrived. Warm lights, soft music, the illusion of celebration. Inside, guests sipped wine and spoke in hushed voices, as if grief required a certain volume. And there she was. Sloane stood in the center of the room, holding my granddaughter like she belonged there. She wore one of Lydia's cardigans, the cream-colored one I'd given my daughter years ago. The sight hit me harder than any punch ever had. She's such a natural, someone said. Sloane smiled politely. We are managing. Managing. My daughter lay in a hospital bed, trapped inside her own body, and this woman was wearing her clothes and playing mother. That's my granddaughter, I said. The room went silent. Helena appeared at my side instantly. Elliot, maybe this isn't the time. She's wearing my daughter's clothes, I snapped. Holding my daughter's child like Lydia never existed. Sir, please calm down, someone said. Helena signaled with her hand. 2 security guards stepped forward. He's emotional, Helena said smoothly. Please escort him out. I resisted just enough. Shouted just enough. Played it perfectly. They pushed me out the front door and slammed it shut. I stood on the steps, breathing hard, looking defeated. Inside my pocket, my phone vibrated. Kieran. Everything's live. Clear audio. Clear video. I walked to my car and allowed myself a single smile. They thought they'd erased my daughter. Instead, they'd handed me their confession. Over the next days, I watched and listened. Helena's control. Preston's guilt. Sloane's quiet panic. Every conversation made them bolder, sloppier. Then, on December 28th, Kieran called. Elliot, he said, voice tight. There's something you need to hear. Your daughter didn't have one baby. My heart stopped. She had twins. I didn't speak for several seconds after Kieran said the word twins. My mind refused to accept it, like it was protecting me from one more blow. Say that again, I finally said. Twins, he repeated. 2 girls. One has been in the NICU this whole time. The room felt smaller, tighter. My daughter had given birth to 2 children, and no one had told me. One of my granddaughters had spent weeks alone in a hospital wing while the rest of the world pretended she didn't exist. Kieran sent the recording. I sat at my kitchen table as the audio played. Hospital noises. Footsteps. Then a familiar voice. Dr. Archer. Mr. Hawthorne, there's something you weren't informed about during the emergency. Your wife delivered twins. The second baby has been in the NICU. She's stable now. Preston's voice cut in, sharp with panic. Twins? Why wasn't I told? We tried to contact you, the doctor replied. You instructed staff not to bother you unless it was critical. A pause. Who else knows? Preston asked quietly. Only NICU staff involved in her care. Another pause, longer this time. Don't tell anyone else, Preston said. I need time. The recording ended. I stared at the wall, my chest tight. One granddaughter being raised in plain sight. The other hidden like a problem. Kieran didn't let me sit in it for long. There's more, he said. From last night. The second recording began inside the Beacon Hill house. Helena's voice was calm, businesslike. Two babies complicate things. Sloane sounded exhausted. I didn't sign up for two. What are we supposed to do? Preston asked. I have a contact in Connecticut, Helena replied. Desperate for a baby. No questions. 100,000. Cash. Silence. Then Preston said it. Okay. Set it up. I don't remember standing up, but suddenly my hands were on the table, knuckles white, heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. They weren't just planning murder. They were planning to sell my granddaughter. Let them continue, I said finally, my voice steady in a way that surprised even me. I want everything. Dates. Names. Money. Elliot, Kieran said carefully, what if they actually try to go through with it? They won't, I said. Not if we do this right. That night, I returned to the hospital. I changed my appearance every time. Hat, glasses, jacket. Patterns get noticed. Variations don't. I slipped into the 4th floor and stood outside room 412, staring through the glass at my daughter. I talked to her. Every night. I told her about her babies. Iris and Violet. I named them quietly, needing them to exist in words if not yet in arms. I told her I was fighting. That she wasn't alone. That her girls were waiting. On the 29th night, I leaned close to the glass. If you can hear me, I whispered, you have to fight. They think you're already gone. And then I saw it. Her finger moved. I froze, afraid my hope was inventing things my eyes wanted to see. The monitor continued its steady rhythm. Lydia's hand lay still again. Lydia, I whispered, barely breathing. If you can hear me, do it again. Her index finger twitched. Slow. Deliberate. My knees nearly gave out. I slammed the call button. Within seconds, a nurse rushed in, the same one who'd started noticing my nightly visits. Meredith. Her eyes followed mine to Lydia's hand. She moved, I said. She responded. Meredith checked vitals, then gently took Lydia's hand. Oh my God, she whispered. You're right. Everything moved fast after that. Doctors. Tests. Quiet urgency. No announcements. No phone calls. Just controlled motion. At 1:30 a.m., Dr. Archer stepped into the hallway, her face lit with something I hadn't seen in weeks. Mr. Hartley, she said softly, your daughter is awake. She's aware. And she's asking for you. I went into that room on legs that barely worked. Lydia's eyes were open. Tears slid down her temples into her hair. When she saw me, her mouth trembled. Dad, she whispered. I took her hand, careful, afraid even touch might break the moment. I'm here, baby. I never left. I heard you, she said, voice hoarse. Every night. My chest collapsed inward. I heard them too, she continued. Preston. Helena. Everything. I nodded. I know. I recorded it all. Her eyes sharpened despite her weakness. My babies. They're safe, I said. Both of them. Her breath hitched. Both. Twins, I told her. Iris and Violet. Fury sparked behind the exhaustion. They were going to. I know, I said. And we're stopping it. Today. Dr. Archer stepped in again. They're scheduled for 10 this morning, she said, to discuss terminating life support. I looked at the clock. 2:30 a.m. 7.5 hours. Can you keep this quiet until then? I asked. She hesitated, then looked at Lydia. Yes, she said. I can. At 9:45, Kieran arrived with 2 detectives, plain clothes. They took positions in the adjacent room. Lydia was propped up slightly, still monitored, still fragile, but unmistakably alive. At exactly 10 a.m., footsteps echoed in the hall. Helena's voice came first. Let's get this over with. The door opened. Helena froze. Preston dropped the papers in his hands. Sloane gasped. Lydia looked directly at them. Sorry, she said weakly. I'm still here. That's when Kieran stepped out, badge raised. Helena Hawthorne. Preston Hawthorne. Sloane Parrish, he said calmly. You're under arrest. They'd come to end a life. Instead, They walked into the truth. The hospital room was silent except for the steady beeping of monitors. Helena recovered first. She always did. Her shock hardened into anger, then calculation. "This is meaningless," she snapped. "She's confused. Medically compromised. We have power of attorney." That's when I pulled out the tablet. Had. I corrected. Past tense. I connected it to the hospital television. The screen flickered to life. "Recording 1, I said calmly. "December 15th ICU hallway." Helena's own voice filled the room, cold and precise. "After 30 days, we pull the plug. Legal. Clean." Preston's shoulders collapsed. "Recording 2, I continued. "Beacon Hill. December 18th. Video played of Sloane wearing my daughter's sweater, holding my granddaughter, smiling while guests praised her. Her face crumpled as the room watched. "Recording 3, I said. "December 28th. The audio crackled. "I have a contact in Connecticut. 100,000. Cash." A pause. "Okay. Set it up." One of the officers shook his head slowly. Sloane sobbed. Preston stared at the floor like it might open and swallow him. Helena said nothing. "You planned to kill my daughter," I said evenly. "Then sell one of her children when she became inconvenient." "This is entrapment," Helena hissed. "No," I replied. "These recordings are legal. Lydia owned the house. She installed the system months ago. You just forgot it existed." Kieran stepped forward. "We also have bank records, phone logs, and witness statements from hospital staff. The buyer in Connecticut is already in custody." That was when Helena's composure finally cracked. They were taken out in cuffs. Preston didn't resist. Sloane collapsed. Helena walked stiffly, eyes empty. When the door closed, the room felt lighter, like poison had been drained from the air. That afternoon, 2 nurses wheeled in bassinets. Lydia gasped when she saw them. My girls. They placed Iris and Violet gently into her arms. She cried openly, kissing their heads over and over, whispering their names like prayers. I stood beside her, one hand on her shoulder, the other wrapped around 2 impossibly small fingers. 3 months later, sentencing was swift. Conspiracy. Attempted murder. Child trafficking. No appeals that mattered. Preston lost everything. Helena lost control. Sloane lost her future. Lydia rebuilt her life slowly, fiercely. She moved in with me. We raised the girls together. Midnight feedings, first smiles, laughter returning to the house. One warm afternoon, we sat under an oak tree, Iris studying the world quietly, Violet laughing at everything. They tried to erase us, Lydia said softly. They failed, I replied. I lifted both girls, one in each arm. They thought love was weakness. They were wrong.